The three scariest games I've played in the last decade shared similarities. No weapons, no dialogue, and in every single one of them, I was a child. There's something about being a small and weak sack of shit running away from something scarier than the Bogdanov twins. Dozens of studios are fighting over who makes the next big RPG, shooter, or adventure game, but for some reason, these horror platformers do not get mainstream love, and I want to explore why. They're only owned by two companies, Tarsier and Playdead Games. On paper, these look easy to copy. I mean, after all, the games are 2D, no complex mechanics, and barely any combat. It turns out, horror platforming is really hard to nail. So let's talk about what makes this genre special. And we'll start with the 2D platforming. That side-on perspective decides exactly what you see and exactly when you see it, which I think is essential in horror. Ridley Scott understood this in Aliens. You only see the shadow lurking and never the monster until the very end. These games master that concept, and the result is that constant question of, shit, am I going to see the creature in this next part? Limbo nails this with the spider. You don't get the whole thing at once. First is just a giant leg stabbing in and out from screen, and your brain starts to imagine how big this thing is. And it freaking plays with you, dragging your body down the dirt, wrapping you in silk, and leaving you to rot. How do you eventually get out of this one? I'll let you play to find out. Reanimal pulls this off superbly too. There's a stretch where you're fleeing by boat in the pitch dark of night and you can't see a thing past the edge of the hull. The water's lapping and something's moving out there in the black, and the game always controls what you see. At every corner, you will never know what you'll find. Next is storytelling. These games tell their story without saying a word. Limbo makes you feel exactly as uncertain as the boy you play. You don't know why you're there, why you're being haunted, or what any of it means. I personally come from a theater background, and the number one rule I've learned in script writing is show, don't tell. And it's actually funny how even some of the biggest Hollywood productions still fail at this rule.
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
However, horror platformers solely rely on it. Insight is the upgrade on everything Limbo started. The ragdoll physics make you feel the helplessness of the boy getting dragged, thrown, and Hulk smashed across the screen. The puzzle started using depth, and the back half goes places I've never seen a game go. Mind control, where you strap on a device and puppet a line of brain dead husks, marching them through puzzles like they're an extension of your own body. Or an underwater segment where a long-haired creature keeps dragging you under until you find a way to breathe down there. And of course, an ending that made me want to puke. And this is something a sports game like FIFA or Madden will never put you through. It's something you feel in your gut, something uncomfortable. When I finished Inside, I immediately went to Reddit to see how other people interpreted the ending, because for me, it bothered me and it stayed with me for weeks. And on top of all that, you better not get caught, because these games punish you in horrible ways and they make you watch the entire thing. Unfortunately, these games aren't for everyone, because there's no progression, no combat, and no real reason to revisit once you're done. You don't get that power fantasy where you are the chosen one, pulling off the most ridiculous feats like you do in other games, or with modern girl bosses. These games, after all, sell you on the exact opposite of that fantasy. You sign up to be an innocent child who didn't ask to be eaten alive, the same way Limbo's boy gets cut clean in half by a trap he never saw coming. And when you fail, you have no choice but to do it over and over again. It's like every time you swore to yourself you wouldn't text that ex again, but it's 3 a.m., you're drunk and horny, and you accept your fate. One thing I will agree with on these games is the price tag. I've only ever played them on Game Pass or on a sale. Tarsier is charging premium money for Reanimal, and although Limbo and Inside are cheaper, next to longer indie games like Hades and Hollow Knight, it's still a hard sell. Perhaps this may be one of the main factors that keep our child abusers from getting to the mainstream. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think horror platformers will ever make the mainstream? And if so, what needs to happen for that to come true? And finally, what is your favorite horror platformer that broke you? Write it in the comments. I read everyone and try to reply everyone. Till next time.